Finding the geek within.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Starstruck, episode 10, reviewing Stargirl, episode 10. My name is Cleve.
My name's Michael.
This is Stephanie.
And I feel like a lot went down in today's episode. I got a lot of things answered, I feel like. Let's go ahead and let's talk about Mike.
Mm-hmm.
He earned bonus points today from me.
Yeah? I thought he was a little mean, but I guess...
It was when you know why? Because this whole time he's been whining and pissing and moaning about how Courtney's taken away from his relationship with Pat. And finally, he proved one time that he was going to be nice to Pat. Like, rather than just whine and complain about it, he was like, hey, Dad, I'll go stay with you and slept in the car. That's a big sacrifice for a 10-year-old.
Hey, at the garage, do we not have like a couch?
Yeah, I felt like we should, but it's probably in the same room as the giant fucking robot we don't want our child to know about. So.
Probably. Yeah,
Yeah.
I enjoyed him going to stick with Pat. I enjoyed him being like, hey, let's not get all into it. Let's just go. How'd you feel about him confronting Courtney? Because they're both not great people.
Yeah, I mean, that part of it was kind of, but I get it at that point. I genuinely saw his family get burned, so like you know what I mean? Like, this whole time, he's like, it's just been me and my dad. But really, at the time, Barbara and Courtney were around. Courtney wasn't the best, but she tried to sometimes maybe-ish be a sister. And Barbara was really nice to him and was like all lovey-dovey with him. So
I think of a lot of times.
I saw his dad like get hurt, and he was like, nah, this is Mama Cub now.
I don't remember a lot of times of Courtney acting sister-ish. But
I think like one or two times.
Right, I was gonna say.
It specifically got called out when it happened. That's what I was saying. Like, but she didn't go out of her way to be a wicked stepsister or anything. Like, you know, Cinderella with and I just blanked on their names.
She just goes out of her way to be Godzilla and just destroy the city and everyone in it.
Yeah.
So this one starts 2 years back with
Pat.
One of the best songs ever, "Ain't No Mountain High Enough."
They've had a solid soundtrack.
They have. They've gotten some liberty to use some songs I didn't think they would.
Mm-hmm.
If they could throw "Smack My Bitch Up" by the Chemical Brothers, then I'm in.
Man, that's a good song.
That's all I need. That's the bingo I have.
So Barbara, we finally have the conversation with Barbara about her being a superhero. And I feel like Barbara could have put to rest your dad is Starman thing. And I feel like we didn't even get into it at all.
Well, she sent the email off. I think she wants physically to show her this is not. And maybe in her head, she kind of believes maybe it could be.
So, yeah, she really turns on the heat. I have to say, I've gone back and forth on this. If she is right for being like, we're fucking done. Because although I feel like it's not that big a deal, he did fake a car wreck when Courtney was really badly beaten. And he he wanted to tell her the truth at that time.
Yeah, I feel like she got a little angry, but like didn't want to listen to any of it.
She acted a little hasty, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that Courtney really let Papa Pat down, which isn't new, but she had multiple times to try to chime in instead of just bitching and whining about how she didn't want her staff taken away. She could have on multiple times said, Pat said he wasn't my dad, or Pat said he wanted to tell you, but I begged him not to, kind of things. Like, those are...
She wasn't going to mention the dad thing.
Details. What?
She wasn't going to mention the dad thing because it's almost like in her brain, there's only this one thing going on, and it's the thing that I think.
I know, but like because at one point Barbara specifically turned to Pat and said, I can't believe you would, perpetuate this idea that Starman's her father or her father's alive. Like at that point, Courtney easily could have been like, Pat doesn't believe me either, or just something. I don't know.
Anything besides, see you later.
Don't take my stuff.
Guess you get a divorce. Bye.
Right. She was totally cool with everything else except for her staff.
Yeah.
That's my birthright.
I like when Pat was like, I'm a sidekick. She tried to call him something else, and he was like, no, sidekick. Sidekick.
I don't remember what she called him either. Courtney's just become like a real angsty, whiny version of Rick.
Mm-hmm. And her staff is starting to get that same personality too.
Yeah.
Trying to go off on its own.
Yeah. Why is the staff fighting crime like
by itself. Like,
Oh.
what?
Also, it proves, I guess neither of them are really anything without one another, because
That's true.
I thought the staff was doing all the work, but apparently it just runs at Brainwave.
When they gave her the stick with the spear on the end, and suddenly she was fighting, I
Yeah.
call bullshit.
I had a problem with that too.
You want to tell me that she's like the brains, or at least the rationality, which I still disagree with. Fine, I'm on board, but you can't tell me that Stargirl just has this miraculous ability to twirl and use a stick of death now.
Yeah, right. When she hasn't been putting up such a fight with training, where she doesn't want to do it.
Well, and then you know what? And then she's holding her own. She eventually does get beat. And I'm like, okay, at least we established, like, you're not going to win a fight against a supervillain with just your stick and your costume and your midriff.
Mhm.
But she
The
definitely
missile came in handy a couple times.
She
I don't know
definitely
if
was
you saw
holding
the
her own.
zombies. Zombies' eyes were drifting. Is it skin? Ooh,
We also
and then
finally saw
burn.
underneath the mask.
We did. How'd you feel about that?
It was so that whole fight scene. I feel like sometimes these shows don't take into account, or maybe they're doing it on purpose because budget, but it was dark and you could barely see anything.
It was so dark. I was watching it on my phone, but I was like holding it up just trying to be like, what? I like trying to block around any light to see if it'll just brighten, trying to turn my screen up.
I turned off all the lights in my house.
It's 100% a budget thing. It's
Yeah.
a strategy when filming fights and stuff.
Now you can't see the strings.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, his face was more man than lizard than I thought it would be, but I guess
Reminded me of Killer Croc from Suicide Squad. I mean, Suicide Squad did it slightly better, and I say slightly.
Well, they had money.
Well, only slightly.
Didn't they get an award for their makeup
costumes?
thing?
Who knows?
I'll have to look.
I was thinking it was going to be a little bit more scary, only because his own daughter was apparently afraid of him taking off his mask.
Yeah.
I imagine as a child it was terrifying.
Well, how long does he look like that? I guess we don't know that either.
Yeah.
I'd imagine forever.
Academy Award for Best Makeup and Hairstyle.
Was that for Harley Quinn?
I mean, it's for Suicide Squad. I have to assume no matter how great Harley Quinn looked, that they wouldn't be like, this disqualifies you. This crocodile man, you're out of the running. So Brainwave had no memory the past 10 years. That was real convenient.
Yeah. That was super convenient.
Way to solve that problem.
But only for all of like
half an episode?
Yeah.
Because Courtney just goes running into the evil air without any plan whatsoever. Surprise.
I mean, I understand it's his redemption arc, and I don't think he's actually dead, but...
Henry, yeah, I don't think he's dead either.
Henry,
we didn't see him die, so I don't think he's dead.
Right. Henry at least had the fortitude to be like, look at his dad and go, it's too late, guys. We're done. Whatever. Cut losses. Let's go.
Well, hold on. Had all five fought, maybe. Well, right. 4 and Beth.
Yeah, Rick's a bitch.
Okay. So
let's Solomon Grundy.
Yeah, let's get into Rick because he super derailed the whole mission. Because who knows had he been there, what might have taken place?
Maybe he could have murdered the Dragon King.
But also, it's not like anybody called for help. It's not always like, hey, Rick and Beth, we found him. Come over here. So, but I mean, I guess if he would have kept moving, and then he couldn't even, and then he turns on the necklace. I have so many problems with Rick. He turns on the necklace to open the door, and he's pulling it on the side with the hinges, not where the door like comes open. And then
also, this is to hold Solomon Grundy. He saw what that thing does. Why do you think you can open it?
Because I'm out.
In addition, if you struggle that much to open the cage for Solomon Grundy, do you think you're ready for Solomon Grundy yet? Like maybe let's pump the brakes.
Right. Well, Solomon Grundy can't open it either, so we might be evenly matched. Sure. And then at the end, so we're facing Brainwave because he got his memory back, and all I'm thinking is, how much time do you have left? Because you prematurely set this timer on for an hour, and we've not established if you can turn it on and off for an hour. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. You know what? Also, did we establish if it's just 24 hours in one day? Like, does it have a cooldown time of an hour? I don't know.
I think the cooldown is just that within every day. I don't think in comic book logic they went into that depth, but I think it's at midnight your hour resets.
It restarts. Okay. Because then
So
it's
let's
like,
start a fight at 11 o'clock, and then they have 2 hours.
Yeah.
or
Back
what?
to back.
Daylight savings. Maybe you can get a couple hours.
I was gonna say, or what time zone am I in? There's so many implications, but yeah, Brainwave's coming, and I would have thought it would have been great if Brainwave was coming down and Rick tried to open the bars and he couldn't because his timer ran out, and it was like
Yeah.
his fault.
I kind of assumed that was going to happen.
Yeah, but it was some
Mental force field.
yeah, which
I don't know that I buy that either.
Also, Henry's
Mhm.
dad gave him about 10 whole minutes to say goodbye to his friends.
Yeah, I mean, we have to let the story happen.
I mean, I guess so. But he's just standing in the background, just watching and just waiting. And then he's like, okay, you're going to die now. In the meantime, everyone's just staring at him and not doing anything.
Nope. Just kind of.
He definitely didn't kill his wife, right?
I mean, he said he did.
I know, but like
I definitely
before,
thought he
when
killed
he
his wife.
didn't have his
This-
memories, he very vividly remembered Icicle killing him.
Well, he
And
just said she
then
was ice
Ito got a hold
cold,
of
which
him.
is what made you assume. That's what I assumed made the twist so good, was that we alluded to Icicle doing the killing, and then you
Mhm.
find out. Because at first I was like, oh, okay, Brainwave killed his wife. Simple, problem solved.
Yeah.
And then they started dropping all these hints, and I was like, oh, okay, so Icicle killed him. And then he was like, no, I did it. I
Yeah,
thought
I was pretty sure Brainwave did it, even when
Oh,
they
okay.
started saying she was cold. I was like, I'm pretty sure Brainwave did this. I don't think he's going to turn out to be this good guy. I think he's just evil deep down inside, and his wife got in the way.
so.
I'm sure neither of you have ever seen Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog, but that's all this reminds me of. Anytime he's on the screen, that's what it reminds me of. Because he's still discount his Dollar General version of Neil Patrick Harris to me.
Okay. I can see that. So we have family ties now. The family tree gets a little stranger. I wrote down telepathic cat call, and then I wrote down don't touch me, hug.
Yeah,
that
Courtney's
was
like the
very-
most dramatic individual in the world.
Yeah, it was a very dramatic reaction because she knows what he is.
Right? It's not like it was a surprise for her.
Well, and we're not trying to call attention to ourselves, but let's stand in the middle of the street and scream, "Don't
Here's what-
touch me."
Here's what aggravates me is when you do something like Henry touching you and showing you everything that he saw, you don't then have to break contact and go, I saw everything you were thinking. Like, I know that because I'm watching the show. You don't have to. I feel like it's bad writing to make that happen and then explain to me what just happened. Assume that I'm smart enough to just put it together.
To not have to spoon feed you.
Right. I like when she tried to get the team to accept him, and she was like, he read my mind, but he's not going to do that anymore." And Beth was like, "That's polite. I appreciate that."
I enjoyed that line. I thought that was hilarious.
She was so
And
happy
then-
about it.
Well, that's polite. She's just such a genuine person.
And then Yolanda and Rick are still mad about it, and Rick got tossed around because it was the 23rd hour. I don't know, but Yolanda hit her with "We're not friends anymore" and crossed her arm.
Rick literally has zero reason to not like him, by the way.
Some of them, sometimes they're acting more like toddlers than high schoolers. Like, I know high schoolers can be dramatic, but I feel like they're over dramatic. Are they freshmen?
I just assume the writers don't know how to write for that age range. Because, yeah, they're like little bitty kids. But the only thing I can thank Michael is because Solomon Grundy runs with the evil and his dad's evil. I don't even know if Rick knew that Brainwave was Henry's dad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We never really established that conversation anywhere because he's been in a coma for 9 episodes.
And then conveniently came back, forgot everything, but also kind of still remembers things,
Yes,
which is confusing.
The power of Dr. Ito.
Mhm.
He brought all memories back.
he did. With magic science.
Yeah, no, I imagine Henry's underneath the rubble and he's created some kind of telepathic force field around himself.
Did he Jean Grey cocoon himself?
Yeah, something like that.
I can see that. So Pat goes to save Barbara because Barbara goes to work even though she's
Right.
packing her shit.
Yeah.
And Icicle and his creepy parents come in. Or his parent-in-laws. I'm not sure.
I don't know. They're creepy, though.
The grandparents from that movie that we talked about.
Yes. But I don't know if anybody noticed Pat grab the monitor and turn it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
this is why I like Pat. Pat's always thinking. He could have just left that. And I assumed he was going to see that and they were going to get caught. Even when it panned back to the monitor at the end, I thought it was going to be Icicle walking in and seeing it or something happened.
Yeah, I thought that's what their conversation was going to be about. Like the grandparents, since they recorded it,
Right.
part of it is going to be about seeing the computer and what they're doing.
Yeah, look at Barbara coming through with the recording.
Yeah.
Right? She went from 0, like she did a complete 180.
I was going to say that's the one redeeming quality she has so far of how she's reacted to all this is that while yes, she immediately was like, "Get out of my house! I don't ever want to see you again." Now, even at the diner, she was kind of like showing a little bit of an olive branch of like, maybe let's look into this a little bit.
Well, I gave her the pass on the being super pissed off when she found out because I imagine it's like, hey, you put my kid in danger and I didn't know about it, even though he didn't actually do it. And she didn't have time to get any kind of explanation because her daughter's a tornado of disaster.
Right, just won't stop talking.
Like, hey, I know your marriage is in trouble, but what about my staff? Like, we need to go get it. It got captured.
Mm-hmm.
So I know you slept in the garage last night, but I need to go get my staff. It's super important.
It went off its own adventures, like me.
Then they go down the tunnels, and she's like, okay, Beth, you and Rick go with Yolanda, and me and Henry. And I'm like, use your code names. You're pissing me off. Why did we give you... The show should just be called Courtney. Courtney and the Gang.
I keep forgetting their actual names. Like, Derek's watched one episode because I had it up on the TV, and he asked like what Yolanda's character was, and he was like, "Is that like Catwoman or something?" And I was like, "No, it's
They never call them that. It's
I
frustrating.
forgot her name for a while because I was like, they don't ever use their names, their superhero names, so I forget them all the time.
Who appreciated Cindy from the jail cell straight snitching?
Right.
I enjoyed her
let
screaming
me
from
kill
the
her.
back. Let me kill her.
Let me do it, Dad. I'll kill her. Yeah, she straight snitched him out, and it was the best. So, how did you feel about the whole fight scene with Grey Mob and the heroes?
The lifeless putty that got thrown around everywhere.
That's basically what they are. They're putties. They're just...
It was just a chance for... Okay, so I have two things about that. A, it was just a chance for them to show them doing cool things with their cool powers. Because every time they fight an actual supervillain, they get the snot beaten out of them by the sports master.
They did get beat by the sports
his friends
master.
call him the coach. The second thing I had to say about this, have any of you guys noticed Henry's stance? And since he's gotten the ability
Wolverine.
to since he's gotten his telepathic abilities, why does he walk around like a silverback gorilla?
He was in a stance like Wolverine. When everybody was getting ready to fight, I expected claws to pop out and him to just scream into the crowd.
Like, even when he walks down the hallway now, it looks like he's got like he's Igor.
You know what that is? That's the acting of the headache. His head still hurts. He's lunged forward.
Yeah, his head's getting heavy now.
He just looks like an asshat.
But I don't understand. If his powers are so good, why didn't he just like whip all of them up and then just throw them against a wall? And that fight was done.
Even his telepathic abilities at that point. I mean, obviously he's still growing, but like they were real weak. At one point, I think he tried to lift someone and throw them, and they just kind of tussled.
No.
So then we get the Brainwave from Brainwave Jr. and I didn't enjoy anything more than when Henry just picked up Courtney and just put her on the other side of the cage.
Yeah, I thought that was the greatest. He's just like, and you're done.
Because you know what else is going to do it?
That's what I was saying, because it's what someone should have done to her a long time ago, is grab her by the collar and pull her back and say, sit down. So Michael was right. Apparently Icicle's got an icicle for Barbara, but Barbara's not buying it, so 50-50.
Well, not now. I think he had some chance to incubate that love.
You know what? The chance was for Barbara to get upset at Pat and then run into him. That would have been the opportunity, but
that's
it didn't happen.
I thought was going to happen. That's what I thought was going to happen. I was like, okay, so here's the opportunity that they've been planning for this entire season. And then nope, she actually surprised by trying to figure out what's actually happening.
Is her last name Gordon?
No.
I don't know.
I don't remember what it is.
Also, who leaves your email up when you're doing super secret sleuthing?
Or at all.
Hey,
your email up on an unlocked computer in your office.
It's a
you know
small
what happens
town.
to unlocked computers? The screens get flipped upside down.
Yeah, they do.
They could have showed us her phone getting a notification email.
But we had to have the suspense of her not reading it right away.
Well, it could have just literally been her phone on a table and it vibrated and the little email symbol popped up. It didn't even have to say it. And we would have all been like, what's that the email? Why can we write this story better than them?
How did you feel about Henry's goodbye? So I want to take credit on Henry was going to be on his dad's side until Brainwave did something just a little too far, which ended up being mom death. Because that was very, very obvious that was going to come into play. How did you feel about his goodbye speech? Like Stephanie said, he had a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
It was adorable. He wants you to remember that people can be good, just like him.
I know, but
He's
now
not dead though, so it doesn't matter.
now they've got Courtney thinking that she's right, which is the scariest thing the show's ever shown me.
Courtney thinking she's right is a terrifying thing.
And then his goodbye to Yolanda. I don't know why he's still getting the slack for that. Like, he didn't do it. He didn't distribute the picture.
I think
Cindy took it.
Oh yeah, Cindy took it in her weird magical way.
I mean, I guess it had to
Somehow.
have come from him, and so that's why he's getting the slack for it. But I mean, he didn't send it to everybody.
I wonder why he hasn't said that. Like, it wasn't me, I didn't send it.
Because he's
It
a
was
real
stolen.
man and he takes ownership of it. He's like, fine, it's my fault it happened.
Yeah, I mean, I think
He's
I
never
assume.
like deflected it.
Yeah, I assume that's what it is. It's like, okay, at the end of the day, this picture came from me, so it's my fault. But
Yeah.
I mean, I think that maybe you shouldn't hate me because I didn't actually send it. And so I know you guys don't think that Henry's dead, but I want him to be dead. This show needs to have weight. If we don't kill off these characters, then what do we have? We killed the Magic Kid. He didn't even have a chance to really be a someone. It was one episode.
Yeah, but he was a
Right.
Weenie Hut Jr.
He was looking at Junior. I don't know. I'm going to cross my fingers for the Henry death, but I can see them bringing him back, especially because they're cousins. And
But are they?
I find it interesting. So that means Brainwave knew who Starman was, right?
Maybe he didn't
mean-
find out it was his sister or her brother until after.
Well, I guess because they did kill, but he also didn't wear a mask, right?
Yeah, he didn't wear a mask.
Nobody wears masks. Everyone knows who each other is, but but somehow no one knows who everyone is.
It's
Nobody knows who Courtney is.
Clark Kent effect.
Yeah.
So, okay, so we're saying the timeline is Brainwave was Brainwave, Starman was Starman, Starman dies, and then his wife kind of grieved over it, and that's how he figured it out.
That would be my assumption. That would be where I'm at on that.
Also, nothing like reading someone's mind and being like, you have nothing but beautiful, nice thoughts, and then killing that person, in theory, if he's telling the truth. I don't know why he would lie about it.
It's a weird thing to lie or tell your son, and then also to kill your son.
Right.
I assume it's just because Ito messed with his mind again.
But he called the bluff and took out Henry, supposedly. He tried to. He tried to assassinate his son. And that, to me, is just as much weight in gold as actually doing it.
Fair.
Yeah, unless it's some weird trick where he's trying to trick Dr. Ito,
Maybe.
and
Maybe he saved Henry.
maybe he's trying to get Henry out of the way.
Maybe he pretend crushed him. I don't
That
know.
would be interesting.
I was kind of rooting for the dad to kind of come to his ways, but he did murder people, like, quite a bit. So
Yeah, like a lot, and enjoyed it.
it'll be hard to he did enjoy it. So it's hard to come back morale-wise from that. So
Yeah, and he was doing that before he murdered his own wife.
Icicle killed Henry's mom. How's Henry ever supposed to join the team with Icicle on it, knowing that he killed his mom? You know what I mean? It's never going to work. Someone's got to die. And I think it was Henry. Unless he did a mental cocoon or Brainwave did mental cocoon. Cocoon. I've not had to say that word in a long time. Final thoughts? Anybody? Everybody?
Yeah. One final thought.
Give it to me.
Don't know if any of you guys noticed this, but I'm quite the connoisseur of food.
Mm.
And there were 2 bananas, whole bananas in that banana split.
I saw that too.
So I call bullshit.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe they were split, but I was like, no, those are 2 whole
They were
bananas.
whole bananas.
Wait, what if the waitress did it on purpose to get them together?
What if she is actually Barbara Gordon?
What if they have a kid and name the kid after the waitress?
What was her name?
Banana split.
Is that how the banana splits were born?
Yeah.
I feel like we're gonna find out that Starman isn't her dad.
Oh, definitely, since he replied to the email.
Yeah.
Unless the reply to the email was, I don't know who this is. I actually inherited this email. Go away.
I imagine that maybe she didn't put like 03 at the end of it, and that's who it was.
Man. it was one of those generic, like, Babe Master 6703, but she put 02 instead. I'm like, I don't have a daughter. What are you talking about? Yeah, that was my last final thought, though, was the banana. Sorry.
Stephanie, get it off your chest. What do you got?
I mean, if her dad replied, and that really is her dad, and that's not Starman, I think maybe Barbara should just not tell her that her dad isn't Starman, because that would suck. Your dad disappeared 5 years ago,
Yeah,
and
I
it was
guess
his choice.
we're on episode 10. I never looked up what we might be going to.
20, I think.
20?
Yeah, I think it was 22.
I mean, I would have 20. Dang, I would think maybe with all the storylines that they were having, but this last episode wrapped up a lot of storylines. I mean, it kind of started a few more, but I feel like it narrowed it down a little bit more.
So I Googled how many episodes will Stargirl get, and it ends at 12. But Wikipedia says that consists of 13 episodes. So I don't know.
Oh, maybe I was wrong.
Well, we looked up the other ones, and they had
Oh, maybe that's what
different numbers. Don't worry, guys. Stargirl renewed for season 2.
Thank God.
I feel like next episode is going to have a lot more Solomon Grundy, or he's just not going to have any airtime until like the last episode.
Well, I mean, it's going to cost them a lot.
That's true.
They're
It's
going to
be like the
from
last.
those graphics for as long as possible.
It's gonna be the last 5 minutes of the last episode.
Also, I guess we are just moved on from the night, and we're not going to get into that anymore.
No,
Oh, yeah.
Maybe I'll show him next episode, man.
I feel
It's all
like he's
coming
every
together.
other episode character.
It's all coming together, I think. Maybe. Who really knows?
CW
That's true.
and the writers. Maybe they're just making it up as they go.
It might be. Kind of seems like it.
It really does.
Other than That Was Polite, Beth wasn't in this one as much.
No.
Well, again, because she really doesn't have anything to give. Not her
That's
fault.
true.
Nothing about her as a character.
She's a voice of reason at all times.
But when
I
she's
find
in
her
the
to be a good conscience. Like, she was with Rick, and she's like, maybe we should go back.
Yeah, but
like, let's not do this.
but then she didn't get
She
it
tried to
done.
grab him, but in fairness, he flipped the hourglass to beat
Right.
up Beth.
Which is more of a reason of like, you're lucky. I expected that to happen. I expected him to be like, get off me. And she fly across the room and him be like, oh man, this necklace comes with a lot of responsibility. Maybe I shouldn't use it so frugally, especially when I only have an hour.
I snapped this poor little girl's neck.
He needs some anger control, anger management lessons.
He's a swift
Some
kick
therapy.
balls. I do not like him, man.
He
He's
was a-
replacing Mike.
Well, he was
Like,
an
this-
abused child, so
I'm liking Mike more than I like him, and that's scary.
I imagine his uncle like didn't feed him some days.
Also, there's just no hotel. Why didn't they just stay at a hotel? It's just the garage.
A motel, yeah, it's free.
Well, you know why? Because maybe there's a villain that owns the motel too. Motel Man.
Probably. This entire town is just a bunch of villains.
No,
Who somehow don't know Courtney.
his name is the Bellhop.
The bellhop.
I mean, if I had a choice between going to spend money to stay somewhere, maybe if I had my kid with me, that might make me go to a hotel.
Yeah,
That's fair.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, I get if it was just him, but you bring your kid along.
I sleep
How
on
did
a
both
tree,
of you sleep in that car?
right? I'm sleeping on a tree if it's just me.
How did you not have a conversation that night about Stargirl and Stripe and all that with Mike?
Yeah.
'Cause, like, I'd rather it go out on my terms at this point than
Well, he's still in that I gotta protect everybody mode.
yeah.
Yeah. I think he's not one to talk bad about anyone.
Yeah.
I don't mean talk bad. I just mean like you're in the same room as your giant robot, and you could easily talk about how Courtney is a superhero and that's what's been going on and stuff, and give some kind of clarity. Because at this point, you're in like discovery mode. He's gonna find out. It'd be better.
He's
if
the
he
only
found out
one that
from
doesn't
you.
know. Like, even the dog at this point knows.
Well, I imagine he was gonna go pee and be like, "Oh, there's a big
Yeah,
robot."
robot.
Or I expected him maybe to go to Courtney and be like, "What's going on?" and turn out tell him, and he goes, "I already know. Eat shit and die." Walk back in the garage and close the door on her face, as she deserves. All right, that completes today's episode. Thank everybody for listening. If you enjoyed the content, please comment, like, subscribe. Give us a rating on wherever you find your local podcasts. You can reach out and find more content of ours on our YouTube channel, youtube.com, and just search Friendship Supreme. We'll be there for you. We have a Facebook, we have an Instagram, we have a Twitter, all Friendship Supreme, except for Twitter. There's no I's in the word friendship. We also have our email, which is friendship.supreme@gmail.com. Reach out to us. Let us know your thoughts. Let us know your theories. Is Henry really dead? Or is he just playing tic-tac-toe underneath the gravel?
We can only hope he's really dead.
It's hurtful. He has a Kylo Ren arc.
No, I know, but like you said, it gives
Oh, I
more
guess
meaning
Kylo
to
died.
It gives more meaning to it, though.
It does, and I hate when a show pretend kills someone. I hate it.
I mean, they definitely pretend killed him
But
for sure.
how many times have you watched a show and you were like, "Oh, I really like that character that died," and then they're like, "Oh, he crawled under a rock and now he's okay," which is literally what's happening here.
Yeah, and unless you're Game of Thrones, you pretend kill people like about 4 times before they actually die. If you don't see them die, they're not dead.
Remember the pretend Glenn kill and then the real Glenn kill?
Yeah,
that one still hurts.
When they cracked his head like a watermelon.
God. All right, I've been Cleve.
I'm Michael.
This is Stephanie.
And maybe when your parents are fighting, maybe we don't bring up our magical staff because there's more important things going on than you selfish brat. Bye.